Hi guys, and welcome to my today's back to school themed video. Today I'm gonna be testing out some cheap art supplies that I got from Banggood, where you can find pretty much everything, including art supplies, in very convenient prices. So without any further ado, I'm just gonna grab my sketchbook and get to testing, reviewing, and of course drawing. So the first art supply that I got were the markers. They're called Deli Artist markers, and I have a 60 pieces set that is about $40, which gives 60 cents per one marker. The markers come in this kind of plasticky box, which is quite finely and neatly done, and the markers themselves are quite square shaped with rounded edges. They have the color indication on both sides of the marker on the cap, and well, unfortunately they don't have a brush tip, but they do have the chisel tip and the point tip. Here are also all the swatches of the markers included in the set, and right off the bat I'm quite surprised with the color variation of the set. We do have some nice skin tones, which is the most important thing for me. So well, first impressions, I'm really happy with this set. Next, I ordered the Brad Funner oil pencils, and once I saw the name oil on the box, I got so scared and afraid that these are going to be just horrible and a nightmare to work with. But well, they appear to be just a regular wooden pencil, so well, the name oil is quite deceiving in my opinion. Anyway, the set I have has 120 pieces in it. It costs $32, which makes it to a 20 cents for one pencil. The pencils come in this kind of plastic satchel in which they are placed on the trays. It might not be the most exclusive packaging that I saw, but at least we're getting plenty of pencils. And when it comes to the color variation of this set, I was positively surprised of how well those colors are picked. We're both getting the colors that will be fitted for the fair complexions, we're getting the mid-tones, the caramel shades, and we're also getting some very deep brown shades. And apart from that, we're obviously getting a pretty good range of all the other rainbow colors. Next, I got the Fineliners. The pack includes 8 pens, which thickness varies from 0.8 to 0.05. Their nib seems quite alright, quite firm and neatly done, and well, as clumsy as I am, I obviously needed to get my hands dirty while opening it. Well, so don't mind me. And one thing, right off the bat, they look almost identical to Microns, so that's quite interesting to see. And the price of the package is about $7, which means that one fineliner is about $1.10. And lastly, the most exciting thing for me is an electrical pencil sharpener. It costs $8. I had such a hard time opening this plastic box that I ended up cutting my finger a little bit, so well, once more, I'm so clumsy. But well, once I managed to open it up, it appeared that there are no batteries in it, so well, I needed to go and buy some first. And for your information, this sharpener needs 4 normal batteries, and it sharpens pretty fast, and it leaves your pencils with a very fine tip. So I'm very excited to use it more. Okay, so as today's video is this kind of back to school themed, I really wanted to make an illustration that will capture this back to school moment. And I was really happy with how the sketch turned out, and I was quite afraid to ruin it with the colors because I didn't know how those art supplies are gonna perform. So well, first of all, I went in with the Fineliners. And well, I need to say that I was so glad to see that this set includes a 0.05 fineliner, because that's a very rare thing when it comes to the cheap art supplies to include such thin fineliners in the sets. However, I'm not gonna lie, I wish there was also a 0.03 one, but that's just my personal preference. I don't want to sound like I'm extra or anything. I think for most of the people, 0.05 is a good thickness for detailed work. Anyway, those fineliners were surprisingly well pigmented. They have a solid black ink, which I appreciate a lot. They glide on the paper very well, they are not skippy, and they don't bleed into paper's texture. And honestly, not only by the looks, but also by their performance, they feel extremely similar to Microns. So in my opinion, if you're looking for a cheaper substitute for Microns, for example, or some other fineliners, these might be the thing that you're looking for. And now we're moving on to the coloring, so that means I'm gonna be using those markers for the first time. And well, you guys know that the markers are always the supply that I'm most excited about. However, when it comes to the cheap markers, as much as I'm excited for them, I'm also concerned if the colors are going to be decent and if there's going to be any skin tone shade to work with. In this set, as you could see, there were a couple of really good skin tone shades, so I was really glad to see that. And once I put the first layer of color on the paper, the actual skin tone shade, I was still so happy to see that this color is actually so pretty and it's not turning into this kind of too pinky shade or too peachy shade, which a lot of cheap markers tend to do. And to be completely honest with you guys, I've tried many cheap markers from multiple brands and there's really not much of a difference in between them. Usually those cheap markers have a tiny bit more intense smell of alcohol compared to, for example, Copics. Their packaging is a little bit more plasticky and cheap, they usually don't have a brush nib, and lastly, they don't blend as good as the high quality markers. So well, I would say that those daily markers that I'm trying out today meet all of those, let's say, requirements for the cheap markers. What I really liked though was that they come in this kind of sturdy plastic box, so it's easy to store them and they don't take up super much space. So well, I would say that if you're fine with the color selection and you want to try out some cheaper alternatives for higher end markers, then you should definitely check these out. And once I was done with marker coloring, I proceed to adding some shading with the pencils. And well, those colored pencils were my biggest surprise of all of the supplies that I got. I honestly didn't expect much from them, since usually when you have those 100+ pencil set, they tend to be really crappy and it's just about the quantity, not the quality. But how shocked and surprised I was to find out that not only they had some really pretty shades in the set, but also how good in fact those pencils are. Right off the bat, I could compare them to the Arteza pencils, but for those of you that haven't tried the Arteza ones, I would describe them as a mix between the Prismacolor Premier and the Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils, which means that their lead is both firm and at the same time battery-like. But definitely it's not too waxy. So when you work with them, they give you this kind of smooth texture on the paper, they don't leave any undesired pencil strokes, and you can easily blend them together, even adding multiple layers. The only downside that I notice is that they don't sharpen that well and the lead tend to break a lot. I assume that that might be caused by the shipping process and how the packages are usually thrown around. But well, despite that, I enjoyed working with these pencils a lot, and even though they are for sure not a professional art supply, they are really close, which is once more very shocking. And well, if you want to add some more colors into your collection and you maybe want to just try them out, try something cheaper but a good quality supply, then maybe they can be a really good addition to your art supply collection. So that would be pretty much all for my conclusions and thoughts on the supplies I got from Banggood. If you want to try any of these supplies out, the links are going to be in my description box, so make sure you check that out. guys, and that will be pretty much all for my today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and let me know how did you like the supplies that I used today and how did you like the drawing that I created. I would love to hear you out in my comments, and well, I'll be wrapping up. That's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having an awesome day, a creative day, and well, I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Take care, bye!
I'm just going with the gut, never had a doubt, felt like this is just a must. Put me in perspective, I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now.